welcome to the Trumped Up Podcast. I am your host, Keith Rao. This is finally Season 2, Episode 1, the Democrat and Media Sideshow, because that's exactly what it is. It's nonstop anti-Trump. We have to get him, nonstop impeachment. All kinds of craziness been going on since the last time we've been with you. We'll start with Syria and Turkey invading over there and attacking the Kurds and everything the media has been freaking out about this week. The reality of this is the media and the Democrats are acting like we pulled out 20,000 or 10,000 troops or something. And the reality is it was less than 50 people, or less than 100. From what I heard, it was 28. Literally like 28 people. Like 28 people could be taken out by a biker gang, even is the U.S. military. But these people are freaking out like we had some massive force there, and we really didn't. And I don't know why they're freaking out anyway, because Trump promised this in the first campaign to end these useless wars, these endless sectarian wars, regime change wars, whichever way you want to talk about it. But this is just something he promised, and he's going through with his promises, and that's probably the biggest part of it. The Democrats have been doing like nothing for so long that it isn't funny. I mean, they campaign on all these things and they never really do anything except get richer and richer. And what their salary is, I don't know how they make these millions of dollars. Apparently because they're all corrupt, which you can say Trump is corrupt if you want, but the billionaire actually lost money being in office, as opposed to these people who didn't make any money until they were in politics. And then the latest in this impeachment inquiry, as they're calling it, which it's just bullcrap, it's not anything. It's just a freaking circus and a sideshow, and it's all for show, hence that's why they're doing it behind the scenes, and the Democrats are only leaking out things that benefit their case, but if you were in there, you would see their case would quickly fall apart. But that's why they're not doing it in the open, because they wouldn't want you to see that. We had Democrat debate this week. That was really a circus. It was pretty much, let's attack Liz Warren, which I don't blame them. Definitely attack Liz Warren, because she's been my senator for over 6 years, and she's literally done not a damn thing. Except for that. I guess she helped start the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which actually didn't do what it was intended to do. It actually just punished businesses instead of protecting consumers. It's wasted millions of dollars. Pretty much all the government ever does is waste millions of dollars. So Liz Warren over here, every time she's asked about how she's going to pay for this Medicare for All plan, she doesn't have an answer, because the answer is we can't. It's not possible. We could seize every dollar from every American and every corporation, and we still wouldn't have enough money to pay for Medicare for All. Also, with Medicare for All, it's not as cracked up as it sounds to be, because anybody who's lived on Medicare, you can ask, doesn't cover everything. It's not as nice as it sounds. There's premiums. And when the government gets involved with anything, it actually raises the cost. Obamacare was supposed to save people money, supposed to cut premiums, reduce deductibles, and it did the exact opposite. It was pretty much Medicare for All on a smaller scale, or we could call it Medicaid for All, because these things just don't cover anything. And then when like Bernie came out this week after he had the heart attack and said if it wasn't for his health insurance, which his health insurance is nothing compared to Medicare for All. They definitely couldn't pay for the health insurance, the Cadillac plans that Congress members actually get. I don't know why they're given health insurance. They should have to go and buy their own damn health insurance. But no, the government came up with this plan. They probably voted for it on themselves. So let's go back to Syria there, where Trump pulling the troops out. I know I'm a little all over the place. It's been a while, so I got to get back in the groove of things. But people are all like freaking out about it, but Trump literally talked to Erdogan, the Turkish president, before this happened. having such a small force there at the time, we don't actually know what Erdogan told Donald Trump he was going to do. Maybe he blatantly told Trump that if you don't get your troops out of there, they're going to die, NATO ally or not, because, yeah, sure, all these people are allies. No, they're all in it for their own interest. Don't believe a damn thing. They're our allies when it benefits them, like they want foreign aid, like the Ukrainians, one of the most corrupt countries in the world. But if Ukraine is actually part of the EU or supported by the EU, why isn't the EU taking care of them or sending their troops over? Or like when the Italian Prime Minister was here this week and he kind of criticized Trump for this, but I don't see him sending his troops over there in large numbers to go and protect the Kurds and fight for Syria and Turkey and whatever they're even fighting for. Nobody even knows, really. Some ancient thing, probably from biblical times. And to prove to you it's a sideshow of the Democrats and the media, we'll go back to the debate now. Tulsi Gabbard, who probably has the best chance of any of these Democrats to beat Donald Trump in a general election, actually is getting attacked by the New York Times. She's getting attacked by CNN. They claim it's because of her war views, which are similar to Rand Paul's and Donald Trump's. But the reality of it is they don't want her to be the front runner because she would actually have a chance to beat Donald Trump. Because if they actually had a candidate to beat Donald Trump, it might actually happen. And then the media would have nothing to frickin' talk about. Not a damn thing. Oh, Joe Biden's in office. He did this today. He did that today. Nothing exciting. Oh, he said this stupid thing. Big deal. Nobody would pay attention. Their ratings would tank more than they've already tanked with this whole... It's like, it's not news anymore. It's a reality show. It's like, how outrageous can we be? But, so they keep pushing Biden, who has no chance. Elizabeth Warren, who's not going to do anything for you. She's already proven over and over again that she's a known liar. She actually has done nothing for America in the least. She's not going to. Since she got reelected a year ago, she's done nothing for the state of Massachusetts. She showed up when Columbia Gas had a massive gas explosion due to some construction work they were doing. But, of course, that was just to look good because we know damn well she doesn't really care about the citizens of Massachusetts. And pretty much in Massachusetts, like Richard Neal, our congressman, one of our congressmen, he's been reelected over and over and over and over and over again. I think he's been in Congress longer than I've been alive. The fact is, when you go out to vote, you'll see next to him, there's no competitor ever. Although he might have a primary challenger from the Holyoke, Massachusetts mayor, who is very liberal as well. But he's actually cleaned up the city quite a bit over there in Holyoke, Massachusetts, and I think crime statistics are actually down. Used to be a lot of murders there, a lot of gang activity, a lot of drug activity, which I'm sure a lot of that was reduced when Massachusetts actually voted to legalize recreational marijuana. So that cuts down basically on a lot of the drug trafficking. They really could probably do something with the panhandling issue they're having. To the point, what they did was put up signs and says, in areas where there's known panhandlers, saying, please only donate to recognized charities, because we all know 80% of these people are in the situation they're claiming. Most of them need drugs or booze or whatever. If you went to Dunkin' Donuts that day and got the free hash brown coupon off your coffee, and you gave it to them, they probably wouldn't even take it. If you offered them work, they're not going to take it. If you offered them housing, they're not going to take it. There's plenty of programs out there that the government's created that could actually help these people. There's plenty of soup kitchens if you're hungry. There's plenty of food pantries. But it's not about that. It really isn't. It's just the craziness. But, yeah. I don't really think the media hates Donald Trump as much as they claim they do. I think it's all a freaking act. I think the Democrats the same. We know the impeachment factor is because they know damn well they can't beat him at the polls. If they came up with a candidate that actually could beat him, they would attack them nonstop, probably. They would find everything in their background possible. But they don't want to find somebody good. Sure, Mayor Bloomberg came out this week too and said, oh, I might run, but not if Biden doesn't drop out. The reality of that is, outside of New York or the several surrounding states in New England and the Northeast, people in the Midwest probably don't know who the hell Michael Bloomberg is, except the guy that created Bloomberg TV. But they don't watch that station. The majority of people in the Midwest and the flyover states are watching Fox News. They're getting their info online. Why do you think Liz Warren and Kamala Harris want to actually break up these tech companies? They want to break up these tech companies because people actually get information, legit information, and they don't like it because people are getting the truth, and they can't control the narrative. We're controlling it. People like me, people like you, people in the real world, alternative media sources like Judicial Watch, Breitbart, and more conservative right-wing people. I guess Mark Zuckerberg did an interview with Dana Perino. It's going to air today at 2 o'clock on the Daily Briefing. Wrong show. So I'm going to have to tune into that, because this week also he was meeting with conservatives after he was attacked by these Democrats. So maybe Zuckerberg's even getting sick of this stupidity and sick of people attacking him for being biased. And Facebook has totally changed the world, number one, and it's changed the way we communicate. But it's totally become a political apparatus for both sides of the aisle. I mean, you go on Facebook and sure, you might get the NASCAR news, like one of the drivers had truck drivers had a medical incident, and the hauler crashed, and it was a lower funded team. But you'd have to follow like NASCAR or a NASCAR page for you to actually see this. But the majority of stuff that you're going to see is all political based. Even when it's not political based, you get organizations like the American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association, and they're spreading political messages. Granted, I get it, they lobby the government all the time and they have their own agenda, but they should be promoting what they're standing for, like mental health treatment or medical treatments, lowering drug costs, better treatments for people. But no, they just spread their political agenda. A lot of it's anti-Trump, but if you tuned into the rally last night, because this NFL game was a joke, I mean, the Democrats' game with this impeachment is worse than Joe Flacco and the Denver Broncos game against Kansas City Chiefs, even after Mahomes went out of the game. I know we have had our problems with the NFL here and their kneeling controversy. They've seemed to move past that now, though, and we don't really hear anything about that. This week, it's more about LeBron James and what he said about China. A guy that claims he's for being against oppression actually supports a country that oppresses its people. So we're going to take a break here, and we'll be back with some more exciting info this week. So we'll be right back. Hey, you too can join the podcasting world and be one of the greatest podcasters out there. Build an audience, get sponsorships, earn money, and do many, many interesting things. You can also get listener support to help sponsor your show, all by using Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to become a podcaster. Anyone can do it. If you got something to say, or someone thinks you got something to say, or you just want to say something, come and join Anchor and join the podcasting revolution. Okay, welcome back to the Trumped Up Podcast. I am your host, Keith Rao. This is Season 2, Episode 1, The Democrat and Media Sideshow. You know, Adam Schiff does these hearings and, he'll just call for a break and run out, and 30 seconds later you'll see him on MSNBC. I mean, if he was really serious about this, he wouldn't be running to the media. And why anybody would still believe anything this guy has to say is beyond me. He blatantly lied to us for 2 years about Russian collusion and the secret evidence that he has that still to this day nobody has seen this evidence. No one's ever going to see this evidence because it doesn't exist. But then he said he didn't talk with this whistleblower, which personally he didn't, but his staff did. And I guess he had a staff member that actually went over to the Ukraine in August. And then first they didn't want to reveal the whistleblower's identity and they wanted him to testify in secret. No, we don't need him to, because apparently it isn't going to help their case, or they don't want it to leak out who this person is because the truth might actually come out, because the whistleblower is actually not first-hand knowledge. It was second-hand knowledge, which in a court of law, this is inadmissible because it's called hearsay. And hearsay will never, ever, ever in the judicial system be admissible, because it's like he said, she said. There's always three sides of the story: your side, their side, and the real part, the truth. But the Democrats don't give a damn about the truth. They are just one big pile of lies every single day. They come out with the craziest of crazy things that I don't know how anybody can support this craziness. You know, you want to talk about climate change? Sure, we can debate that. You have your opinion, I have my opinion, but these people say, oh, you're going to die in 12 years. If we're going to die in 12 years, it's not stopping it, seriously. Or I watch the Weather Channel, and it's like, oh, it's the biggest record temperature. We have record temperature rise, and it was 1 degree, number one, and they've only kept records for 100 years, and the climate's been changing for millions of years. The climate's going to keep continually changing for millions of years. Before, in the past, it was, oh my God, we're going to have another ice age. They can't predict the weather for the next week, never mind predicting what it's going to be like in 12 years. I don't care. Just not going to do it. The craziness that these people come up with is unbelievable to me. And then a couple of members of the squad, including AOC, actually came out and endorsed Bernie. I don't know if that's a positive for Bernie or not. I have no idea if Bernie's even going to make it to the election. And if they keep getting him upset, he may just have another heart attack. I mean, you could tell that was coming because he was just a grumpy old man. He was getting angry at little babies before. And it's just insane, the things these people do or the stuff they come up with. Like Nick Mulvaney, they twisted his words. He kind of was scatterbrained what he said, and it was misconstrued of what he was saying about this Ukraine controversy. But what he said was for something previous to the last thing he said, but they tried to make it out like he was saying there was a quid pro quo. That's a tongue twister if I ever heard one, but whatever. I don't know, these people in the media can say some of this stupid made-up words they come up with. Why don't you just say, you scratch my back, I scratch yours? That's kind of the thing. Like when Hunter Biden's on the board of some Ukrainian gas company with no experience, and he's being investigated by the Ukrainian prosecutors, and suddenly Vice President Joe Biden says, look, we're going to withhold this aid. We're not going to give you this financial aid if you don't fire this guy. That's literally what they're trying to accuse Donald Trump of, which if you read the transcript, there's nothing in there saying anything remotely close to this. Nobody has any evidence of bribery. Yes, he was withholding money, but if you know Donald Trump, he's against giving money to foreign countries for no damn good reason. Because he'd rather spend the money on us, the American people, and making our lives better. Why are we giving billions of dollars to foreign countries when we can't fix our own damn roads? Seriously, you pay a tax to fix the roads and they still can't fix the roads. Bridges are falling apart. Amtrak's a joke, which now that I realize, hey, Hunter Biden was on the board. I don't know how he got that job, except his dad was vice president and he rode the damn train a few times in previous campaigns. Like, say, oh, I'm great, I ride the train. Woo. Nobody gives a damn. Yeah, I rode Amtrak. It's not exciting. It's a method of transportation. But also, you got Biden over here. He's going to preach to you about climate change, why he's the candidate that spent more on private freaking flights than any other candidate in the Democrat race right now. And then you had a Trump rally last night in Texas, and you had a Beto rally. Trump had more people outside of his rally than Beto actually had at his rally. So I don't think any of these people can... Okay, Liz Warren in New York City, which is a liberal mecca, had a large rally not that long ago. But Biden himself, he's not even raising very much money. His campaign doesn't have a lot of money on hand, and they're burning more money than they're actually bringing in. So if you can't raise funds, you're going to go bankrupt, and that's all you're going to do yourself is make yourself go bankrupt, which we know no politician ever goes bankrupt. They just find some other creative, corrupt way to make money, or they'll write a book or some other dumbass thing. Speaking of book, remember, you can go out and get the Democratic Asylum Political Manifesto. It's now available on audiobook, either at Audible or Amazon. You can also get it in Kindle form on Amazon, and you can get it in paperback. I lowered the price $1, so make it a little cheaper for your life. Be doing me a huge favor if you went out and purchase it, and you might actually learn something. And it's written in a way that it's more condensed and more put together than my podcasts actually are, especially being out of practice here, because it's been probably about 6 weeks since I've done this, and there's been a lot going on in that 6 weeks, but the majority it's this. I heard one commentator say it's like Groundhog Day, the movie Groundhog Day, where every day you wake up and it's the same. It's impeachment, but okay, this is what's going to happen, but it's still back to impeachment, and it's impeachment and impeachment. Eventually, I've already tuned it out because it's just noise. It's noise, like the tinnitus I hear every day. It's an unexplained noise that you get in your ear. Some people hear crickets, some people hear buzzing, some people hear ringing. Nobody can explain it. Our modern medical science can't fix it. But impeachment is as annoying as the ringing. For me, it's actually like a hissing sound, sometimes with a buzz. But it's almost, the impeachment noise is almost as annoying as that. But if you've lived with this, I've had it for 2.5 years. Trust me, you don't ever want to have it. It affects your quality of life. Sometimes it's like a 3, sometimes it's a 1, sometimes it skyrockets to like a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 system that we always have used, like when you have pain. But it's just noise. Maybe the people on the left keep listening to this with hopes that, oh my God, they're going to impeach Trump. But the fact that Nancy Pelosi isn't going to bring this up for a vote tells you they don't have the votes for impeachment. And with Elijah Cummings passing, that's one less person they would have to make it happen. And it's not going to happen. Because even if the House passes this impeachment, it's going to go to the Senate to die. Because the only Republican they could probably pick up for that is Mitt Romney, who is just a clown who's trying to get attention. I don't know. I'm sure he's doing nothing for Utah any more than he did for the state of Massachusetts when he was my governor. Well, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back next week with another interesting episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Trumped Up Podcast. I am your host, Keith Rao, and I am out.